if I see an actor, could be very technically brilliant actor, maybe. Today we have more technically brilliant actors than the ones who are like animals. Brando, Leonardo. What happens is audience actually always more smart than an actor. Because at least we think so. And we are, because we watch. And watching is always makes us. And what the game would say, if you watch an actor who's brilliant, but brilliant technically, you can always anticipate and kind of smell what he or she is doing next or why. And then it's not interesting. What's interesting when I don't know why and when I don't know what's next, and it builds up and builds up, but somehow it engages me. And gradually, if that behavior comes from a real place, it means it gets to this, so to speak, universal humanity. And then you co-experience and something opens up on yourself. You, for an hour and a half of watching show or film, become free from your own files, from your own voices running in your head, from your own meanings, from your own interpretations. It's marvelous to feel and not to know. It's marvelous to participate, to experience. And that's what animals experience everything. If animals are not experiencing, they die instantly because another animal will destroy them. We human beings learn the mind as a gun to protect us. And what we're protecting ourselves is from experiencing, from life. But animals cannot protect themselves that way. They have to be present. They have to experience. They have to smell, to see, to follow organic and react. And I've been talking in my classes again and again about the only real teacher I call, my teacher Smoktunovsky, who never taught a single accent class. When I asked him, do you act? And he said, I don't act. What do you do? I react. That's a tiger. I react. What you react to? To everything. You see, there is no dull situation. There is no set. The dull, it's like it's me become dull, not life. It's me who cannot losing wonder. Not every child, that myth of children. There are plenty of children who are already, born without wonder. I don't know how it happens, but I see small children already internally being old. And then you see ones for whom everything, taking this, everything is an amazing event. And another thing is, in order to survive, animals must be fully experiencing and in touch. And if animal is not fully in the body, it's not, when we talk about body, today we have physical theater and body. But the body is perceived more as of external form, muscles, things, this, or the movement, whatever. But this is flesh, it's not exactly and bones. Body, it's a cosmos with incredible its own wisdom, logic, rhythm, and things. So it's use the body, be in a body, but most of the time it all ends up gym and athlete or endless movement classes, but it's not a body. It's a body that, like I'm fixing my dress, I have now Christian Dior, I have this. That's not the body we are talking about. That's not the body of tiger. His body is the universe in which he is living. And he is living through that universe. Just to watch tiger moving, that video that we were looking at on class, it's amazing. And which dancer can, you know, I'm thinking of Nureyev. Yes, it's incredible. Well, Nureyev, I felt like when I watched him, you know, watch Baryshnikov, I watched, you know, in several Russian, you know, I saw Maya Plesецкая on a stage. I saw it, and it is animalistic animal. It's like a celebration. I feel when I watch Nureyev, it's like a celebration of that cosmic body. And that's what you see in every animal. They are living only what's necessary. Because we calculate and trying to give meaning, we actually have no idea what's really necessary and what's not. Because we created environments in which we're very protected. Cold, I turn the heat on. You know, hot, I turn the conditioner on. But animals cannot turn heat or conditioner. So then body needs to adjust to it. And mind has to figure it out. If I go under the tree or I enter the water, and they think, I watch this, I spent, I don't know, hours and hours and hours watching National Geographic. For example, a tiny elephant.
National Geographic.
Got into some muddy river and then didn't know how to get out. And then the whole, you know, big elephants come, but they cannot like us through the hand and pull him out. So they're standing there, little bit trying to, just to watch the struggle of the whole elephant tribe standing there, but you know, feeling like, oh my baby. But the mother elephant couldn't do it.
I think what I'm hearing, and you know, part of what I'm hearing is we're not by ourselves on stage. We're not our lions on stage. We're a part of a whole. So the space is almost another character. So when you're talking about a lion or any of those animals, they're part of the whole. Their inner being, their body, their inner being is part of the whole environment. And when we're acting, we have to be part of that whole environment and react. And Cate Blanchett said, you know, she's a wonderful actress. She said, the audience can sense when you're not alive, when it's not alive inside. As you were saying, the audience knows. And so I think with classes, yeah, with your classes, it's awakening that awareness that we all had as little children. We were playing and reacting and doing things without logically going, oh, I must do that next movement now. Because if I'm thinking about the movement before I'm doing it, the audience is going to see that, right? So I think that's kind of what we were kind of talking about as far as for me in the beginning about it just being about the lines. And that's why I love so much the kinetic work that we do in your classes, the doing the animal work in your classes and bringing that awareness, making it a larger experience, not only for us, but for the audience and making it more alive. Francis, do you want to add anything to that?
What was remarkable in that class for me, and I shared it with you at the end, Polina, what was remarkable in the class is that, you know, it moved from something rather mundane, a cat, you know, people have cats in their home, to observing the cat, to, I don't know if it's becoming a cat, okay, in the sense like we were moving like a cat, and it kind of awakens another way of being. It erases the judgment, the screening that you were discussing, you know, the controlling with the mind, and then it lived through the entire class, and it was there for me, and I was not working for it, and it felt like, as you were saying, like everything was a discovery, everything was a stimulation, everything was new.
I want to just to add, because we kind of well, let's me end it with the theoretical conversation, but the actual work of animal, we can talk about stages and steps on it, where we learn a very specific watching animals, thinking with step by step learning, observing and taking. Work on animals is not a descriptive work. You watch and you learn what you inhale from it. What you inhale. So you learn by observing. When you learn by observing, and in total intuition and mind work together, and then you try to bring it into your body step by step. Working on animals is ancient. From the very first rituals of human beings, from the mask and things, they were always starting the dance of servicing, imitating animals. It's nothing new, but I think we're probably trying to do it somewhere more specific when I was in drama school in Moscow. So they sent us the homework next week is to do the animal. So there were no videos, obviously, no computers, nothing. So we all go to the Zoom. Majority of my friends and class didn't even bother. They just tried to remember from some movie or something in life, some animal. Because I was very serious student, went to the Zoom. And the teacher said, you go, you watch the animal, then you bring. And I went to the Zoom and I was observing. In Russian, we call it a secretary bird, one of those with the long legs. I don't know in English. It's not ostriches, it's not, So.
Egret?
So I observe physically, observe the body, observe the movement. Okay, half an hour, 40 minutes, notice. And then I just kind of stood there still. I wasn't even, I just kind of, and I didn't notice that I stood in front of the bird for 3.5 hours until the worker of 4, he called policeman to call ambulance. The girl went crazy because I started communicating with the bird without even knowing it. I started talking. So what happens, why I'm talking about it, you need gradually to take in what is beyond image. You see, imitate animal will do nothing. It's the same as most of the acting. That's why we need to imitate or pretend to look natural. You need to be able to drop into the nature of that being. So animal work is very important for acting because when we work on Hamlet, every actor will figure it out, or Ophelia, or whatever, really, doesn't matter. From view from the bridge. What actors do? We interpret the character. We figure it out. What's right or wrong with that character? So we have actually judgmental image of the character. And then we try to play. If it's sexy, if it's greedy, if it's violent, if it's kind, it's whatever. If Isabel, from Shakespeare, is that pure religious spirit, which is not, obviously, she's just a human being. When you observe and inhale and absorb the nature of your animal, it's like you swallow the whole thing. You don't just get a bite of this and bite of this. And that is one of the main reasons I started to be interested in animals, because the animal work that I did in my students in Moscow, in our school, had no meaning. Then I remember in the class with Michael, I loved Michael Hart, but we all did one class, animals. Okay, everybody pretended to be an animal. And I was, it doesn't do anything. You learn to what I call inhale the essence of the nature. Then the character lives in you. You don't decide if Hamlet is stupid, neurotic, or whatever. You inhale Hamlet. and then Hamlet works through you.
Mhm,
You,
mhm.
you empty yourself from all your wonderful traumas, from all your wonderful techniques. You have to become empty. Inhale the tiger, inhale Othello, and then Othello has space, and that's you wondering, I doing things. You bring the higher consciousness to Othello, but not the interpretation.
Mm.
You see, the higher consciousness, which I'm not sure the tiger has it, is different from interpretation.
So maybe, Polina, as I'm listening to you, and what comes to me is like working with animal in this way, breathing or inhaling the essence of the tiger is almost a practice, so that you could, and of course the animal that is not a character, doesn't have a text, doesn't have a life, doesn't have a, it's not a character in a play. Okay, so it's kind of a blank canvas where you practice this way of inhaling the essence of a being.
Animals, every animal is a character. And I love classical old cartoons because they geniusly pick up
Sure.
the rhythm, the way to react to the world. They geniusly pick up. I love to work in class with some of my students on cartoons because that's a genius extraction of the essence.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This is what I'm talking about. So, but a tree is a character, an oak tree is one character, a birch tree is another character. But there is this wholeness to it.
Yeah.
And then you learn the rhythm. What would be the rhythm of the way Othello moves? The way Othello, what is this? It's so interesting. The way Othello, his hands, and he is a warrior. His hands, and then he uses his hands to strangle her. I'm not saying you don't think. I'm saying, of course, we think. Since we have the mind, I think it's a gift. It's how we think.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's how I think with my whole being.
It's the whole being. Yeah.
And my thinking of Othello or Desdemona has nothing to do with my Polina traumas, but Polina traumas in me anyway. Why I need to worry about it? They operate on me, my emotional memory and all of that. It's in me. Every tiger has his emotional memory too, but he doesn't worry about it because he needs to get zebra. It's just it's totality of presence, totality of thinking. And animals are very emotional. And for example, elephants are very, and also the rhythm. Elephants are very musical. They're also very tender. There is a lot of thinking going in animals. So we're not talking about not thinking. We are talking about thinking through your whole being present, not to live in one room in your house, but to live in your whole beautiful, palace that we are given. Because I think that a lot of what happens in the West, we are living only in this room and then in this room, because Richard Burton, I read somewhere that he wouldn't work on character until he'll find an animal.
He wouldn't work on that character until he found the animal. People now live so much in their phone. People are living in this little world instead of the whole world. So with Polina and her classes, if you're interested in, again, please look in the description part of the YouTube page below us, and you can go directly to Polina's website, and check out her classes. And we hope to see you there. And Francis, I don't know if there's anything you'd like to add before we stop today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Polina Klimovitskaya and Francis Scholl. Thank you. And until next time, please take care and we'll see you. Bye-bye.